What's up everyone? Ryan the Bomb here. And it has been a while since I made these videos, but I figured, since behind the scenes here, I'm continuing my education and changing my career a bit, I figured now would be the appropriate time to continue and conclude these job story videos. And in this video, I'm going to talk about the worst job I've ever worked as a package handler at FedEx. But before I get into it, let's get the positives out of the way. Let's see. No customer interaction, the pay's better, and it's not boring. That's it. So while I was working my last days at Walmart around the end of July 2020, I would say, I've been applying at data entry clerk jobs because my intent was to, do bigger, better things. And by that, I mean I wanted to become a data entry clerk. And again, I didn't know what I wanted to do at the time. This is before I figured out what I wanted to do with my degree. And what I was doing, I was applying at so many data entry clerk jobs. And I need to get out of this cart pushing job as soon as possible because the heat is just too much. Like, I need to get out of it. And finally, one of the places I applied at was as a package handler for FedEx. And eventually I got the job. And that 2 weeks notice I put in at Walmart, that basically became a 2-day notice. And I said, hey, I was gonna finish the 2 weeks, but it's gonna be a 2-day notice. So, thank you for giving me the opportunity to work here. And I wish you all farewell. So the interview or orientation, I guess, I don't remember which one. This was like 4 years ago. And yes, 4 years ago. So it was like a group interview things where we all met in this classroom-like setting, and then one of the managers who worked in the warehouse came up and he gave us a walk around the entire warehouse, and he showed us the entire tour of the warehouse itself, like, oh, this is the loading area, this is the unloading area, this is where they do all the processing, the packages, all that good stuff. It was kind of a massive place. And internally, I was kind of excited because it's gonna be a whole different place to work, better pay, no customer interactions really, so hey, this is gonna be great. But little did I know. So as a package handler, you might be thinking to yourself, well, what do you do in this massive warehouse? Good question. So what I did as a package handler, we would have trucks come up with these big long trailers, and they'll have light packages, heavy packages, mid-shaped packages. What I did was I unloaded all these packages out of these trucks. And depending on the size, big or small, it might take me a good hour or two to unload these trucks. And we would take these packages, the square and rectangle ones, we would take them to the conveyor belts that go up like this, like it goes up like this. But for any weird misshaped packages, like let's say a tire or some weird looking box, we would call these packages ICs. I don't even know what that even stands for. But that's what they call the misshaped and unique packages. But instead of taking them to the conveyor belt that goes, up, we would take them to these stainless steel tables, which would be taken to another conveyor belt, where the other package handlers still take the devices that are on their wrists. They're kind of like pit boys, and we'll just scan them as they go along. But I didn't do what they did. I unloaded packages out of these trucks, and that's all I did for a good 8 or 9 hours from 3 p.m. till 12 at midnight, or sometimes 1 in the morning on Mondays, and that's all I did. And you might be thinking to yourself, oh, that doesn't seem too bad. I mean, you just unload packages out of trucks and you don't have to deal with any customers and the pay's better. Well, yeah, but no, it sucked, like really bad. Do you want to know why it sucked? Because this was in the summertime too. I worked during the summertime, not long after my tenure at Walmart, and the heat on those trailers, those trucks, they sit on these trailers and the heat just comes in. So you're basically in these hot boxes, and oh man, I'd be sweating like crazy. Okay, maybe not crazy, but I'd be sweating, and it just kind of feels uncomfortable. And man, it was terrible. I drank so much water, and the warehouse wasn't even better. I mean, some AC going on, but since it's a massive warehouse, the only cool place in the entire area was they had a trailer, a truck trailer that is not for packages. It's just there for the employees to take 2 or 3 minute breaks. But these trailers, they were nice and cold. So if you need like a 2 or 3 minute break to cool down, that's where you would go, so you don't, obviously suffer heat stroke even if you're inside a building. And speaking of Walmart, one of the cart pushers I worked with, who became my friend, before he got fired, after he got fired, he told me he works as a package handler now. And funny enough, at this time, I started as a package handler, and what do you know? He just happens to be there. I'm like, okay, I knew he was a package handler, but I didn't think it'd be a package handler in this exact warehouse. And I'm like, holy moly, what are the odds to that? So yeah, this warehouse, it was like 23 minutes away, and doesn't matter how late I work, I would have to, commute, which I didn't mind too much. I actually kind of liked commuting. But if I'm working late, like let's say 1 in the morning, I'm like, oh man, I just want to get home because I'm tired and all that good stuff. And at a certain point, I stayed up till 3 in the morning because that one Monday we stayed up till 1 in the morning, and at the time, I didn't like that. And another thing about being a package handler is that you cannot have your phone with you. They would have these lockers outside the security checkpoint, so you had to put your phone in the locker because you couldn't have it with you for security reasons or whatever. And then we have to go through it's kind of like an airport security thing where you go through the body scanners and all that good stuff. And because it's a warehouse, obviously you gotta secure it. But for me, that kind of sucked to not have my phone with me, especially for our 30-minute lunches. And at the time, I was so used to having a 1-hour lunch at Walmart, because that's what Walmart does, is 1-hour lunches. And honestly, I gotta say, I don't care where I work, I will take a 1-hour lunch any day. I do not see that as a pay cut, I see it as a much needed break. Because honestly, when I worked at Walmart, what I did was I would occasionally just leave the premises, like I'll just go home and just chill. Like honestly, that's what I would do if I had a 1-hour lunch. So as the days go by, I worked this job and unloading all those packages for 8 or 9 straight hours. And oh man, as time goes on, my fingers started to get really sore. Like it really, I've never had my fingers felt sore before, and I realized, I've never worked a manual labor job before. I mean, yeah, working in the parking lot is physically demanding, but actually doing all these repetitive movements, moving these packages light and heavy, and sometimes you need a person to help you out. Like it gets to you, like physically, on top of the sweating and everything. Like it tired me out. And you know what's great? We would work Monday to Friday from the 3 p.m. to 12 a.m. or 1 a.m. shifts. But we would have Saturdays and Sundays off every time. And I looked forward to the Saturday and Sunday. And oh man, it just feels great to have those 2 days off. And because I'd be working till 1 a.m., I stay up till 3 a.m. or whatever, I'd be sleeping until 11 or noon. And man, just having that Saturday and Sunday off, oh, it just feels good, like to have a break from that physically demanding job. Because it wasn't long until I really started to not like the job at all. Because it's just physically demanding, like it just got to me. And I remembered I've never drank that much Gatorade in my life. Like every day when I got out of work, I would just go to a gas station or something. Because oh man, I haven't drank that much Gatorade in my life because that's what I needed. I needed energy. That's what I needed, on top of, maybe a coffee drink or like Gatorade. So much Gatorade I drank, holy moly. So a few weeks since, my first day, we work, a typical Monday shift, 3 p.m. to 1 a.m. And I knew I was gonna work a 1 a.m. shift. I already knew I was. And that day I was planning to find a way to leave early, which I was able to. It was around midnight or whatever, and me and a coworker were just unloading a truck, And then I basically told her, hey, I just need to go to the bathroom real quick. And she's like, okay. So I grabbed my water bottle and my lunchbox, and I did go to the bathroom. But instead of turning back, I immediately went to the time clock that's not too far from the bathroom. I quickly clocked out, whatever, and then I sped walked out of there. And I was looking all around if there's any manager around, seeing me leaving early. And that's what I was doing. I was leaving early because I'm like, I'm not gonna stay till 1 in the morning. And I remember on my way home, when I picked up my phone in my locker, I put on vibrate in case they try to call me and ask, hey Ryan, where'd you go? Why aren't you here? Because I'm like, no. I'm not staying till 1 in the morning. I'm not doing that. And I remember the next day, I just called off. I said I was sick or whatever, but I wasn't sick. Well, actually I was sick and tired of the job, but I'm not gonna stay till 1 in the morning. I just need a break. And the next time I came back, one of the managers who worked the unloading area where we unload trucks, he basically asked me, hey Ryan, what happened Monday? And I wanted to say, oh, I don't want to stay there till 1 in the morning. It's not like I left super early. I left an hour before I knew we were gonna go home. I only left around midnight. It's not a big deal, but to me anyway. But anyway, I kept it brief and I just told him, hey, I'm sorry and I won't do it again. Without explaining why, I just kept it brief. And then I had to sign some sort of piece of paper acknowledging, the labor laws, saying, hey, I can't just leave without saying a word, blah, blah. I don't remember. And at that point, I was really getting sick and tired of the job. So here's the thing about the managers there. They were easy to work with. I never had any problems with them. They weren't bossy or anything. There was a couple of ones who were in their 20s or 30s and one who was maybe 50s. But I never had any problems with them. They were just cool managers. So the manager's not the problem. The problem to me was just the job. This physically demanding job where my fingers are sore and even my feet, and I'd just be sweating and just being tired. And thankfully I wasn't bored, but it's not a boring job, it's just demanding. And it wasn't like we had to be in a major hurry, but man, it's just, at some point I decided, you know what? I'm not putting up with this anymore. And one day, I just came in, what was it, Monday? I don't remember. But this is like a few hours before my shift. I drove myself all the way to this FedEx warehouse. And I basically went to one of the people working in one of the offices or whatever. I don't know, I'm assuming they're HR. And I just gave them my badge and I just said, hey, I quit. And that was it. I don't think they deserve a 2 weeks notice. And to myself, I was thinking, if they pay me $50 an hour, I'm not sticking around. I'm not sticking around for that. I'm better than that. I'm not gonna sacrifice my mental and physical health. It was mostly my physical health, but I have dignity and I'm not gonna let a job drag me down physically like that. So yeah, guys, that was my worst job I've ever worked. I haven't even been there for a month. That's how bad it was. But, I learned something. To not work at a warehouse. And eventually I was unemployed for nearly 2 months. I've been trying to apply to data entry clerk positions at the time, but I wasn't really getting anything. So eventually I had to go out of my way to apply at grocery stores and all that good stuff. I didn't want to, but I just needed a job. And at this time I wasn't in school. But eventually I found myself in a position that I didn't think I would be working again, which I'll be discussing in my next job story video. What do you guys think of this video? Did you like it? Did you not? Do you have any stories of if you've ever worked at a warehouse, whether it be Amazon or FedEx? Do you have any interesting stories in those places? If so, let me know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for awesome content. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Ryan the Bomb out.